relation to this whole Trump thing is, what is Trump's real economic plan? And basically, it's I'm going to drill more oil and do more fracking, and I'm going to put massive tariffs on countries. So basically, he's going to tank the energy market and do a sales tax. I mean, that's basically what he's saying at the end of the day. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I pulled up this article from Yahoo Finance because it's funny to me. So Trump's answer to pretty much any question is either more oil drilling or tariffs. Few think it'll work. Almost nobody serious thinks it'll work. A series of appearances in recent weeks have solidified a truism about former President Donald Trump. Nearly every economic challenge, from deficits to the fraying social safety net, can seemingly be solved with more oil drilling or new tariffs. That was his answer to childcare. I'm going to put more tariffs. And nobody knew what the frick he was talking about. It doesn't make any sense. It'll be so easy, he's fond of saying, and will also bring in waves of money. But economists and other experts are skeptical on multiple fronts. Would it really be that easy? Would it bring in anywhere close to as much money as the former president thinks? Okay. Not to mention whether such policies might cause more problems than they solve. Yet it hasn't slowed Trump, who, at a series of events in recent weeks, from recent debate to an economic speech to multiple rallies and press appearances, promised America's coffers will be overflowing if he wins in November because of these twin policies. We're going to have so much money coming in, he said at a speech last week in New York on the topic of tariffs. Oil is additional liquid gold, he added Thursday during a stop in Arizona. So
now we know we've been watching the Beverly Hillbillies.
yeah. Texas tea, right? Bubbling crude. Anyway, so here's the deal. He said we're going to drill more oil, right? Well, who profits on that? The corporations do that own the oil. It's not like the government. I mean, we do have reserves and stuff, but we pump those out, and we can make some money on that, but it's difficult to do. Companies do that, and they sell it, right? The government's not really in the business of making money. The way the government makes money is taxes. That's how the government makes money. But the bigger issue is if you're doing that, he's saying this is going to solve a lot of economic problems because we're going to bring down the price of gas, right? By drilling more. We'll create more, there'll be less demand. Well, here's the problem. Since Biden and a little bit under Obama, we are a net exporter now of energy. And we're drilling more oil than we ever have before, right? Which is why gas prices are not skyrocketing. I mean, I know people bitch about the cost of it, but it's still kept pretty low and in check as far as inflation goes. Now, the reason for that is because we've dumped some of our reserves into it, restocked them, and we're drilling a lot more. So we're not as dependent on OPEC as we used to be, right? And all the other oil, petroleum exporting countries. Well, if you want to get those prices down further, what do you have to do? You have to make it less valuable, which will tank the market. And do you think those corporations are interested in their product being less valuable? And them not making as much money? No. So that's a stupid policy to begin with because nobody's going to want to do it. Who's he going to hire that's going to want to drill that much oil and pump it into the system so they can lose more money? It's a stupid idea. The other one is the tariffs. And people don't understand this. And I'm telling you, it's a sales tax on American businesses. And people think that, no, it's the foreign countries pay the tariffs. No, you can't tax a foreign entity or person. You can only tax your own citizens, people that live in your country. Or their citizens living abroad, right? But they have to be Americans, right? We can't tax Canadians because they don't have to pay it. What are we going to do? Arrest them for not paying the tax? They're not part of this country, right? So what ends up happening is this. I am corporation, ABC, and I want to make widgets, and I need to buy steel from Lacey in Europe, right? So I buy the steel from Lacey, she gives me the price, ships it over, right? Pay for shipping, I do, right? The stuff gets here, it arrives at port. It's in customs. I want to go pick up my stuff from customs. You know what customs says? You have to pay the tariff. Me, the American company.
So you mean they can't come after me to pay the tariff for you?
No, not in Europe, because you're not under American law. There's nothing they can do to enforce it. What they can do is they can
There we
make
go.
me pay it. We're taking an IOU or something on it, but I still have to pay that tariff. So it's a sales tax against me, the business, that I'm paying for the privilege of buying from overseas. Now, the reason you do this is you want to encourage more domestic purchasing. They're like, oh, well, Duncan, yeah, I can get steel from Lacey in Europe for much cheaper than I can from Ted in California, right? But they're like, well, if we tack a tariff onto it, now Ted is cheaper. So the idea is to encourage me to not buy from Lacey in Europe, but to buy from Ted in California. That's the point of a tariff. So if a tariff works, I won't be paying it, because I'll be buying from the local guy.
But if the tariff works, then also I won't be paying it over in Europe either.
No, I'll be paying as the business.
So if it works, nobody's actually paying it.
Right. If a tariff works, nobody pays the tariff. So we're going to bring in all this money on tariffs? No. Because if the tariff works, nobody's going to want to pay it. Which is stupid. But let's say I did pay the tariff. Well, now my costs have gone up to make my widgets. Right? So I either have to...
Okay, so hold on. Let's give them, in this scenario, okay, it did bring all this money in, but what, Duncan? What happens then when your costs go up?
Right. So I had to pay this money as the business. It's the company. ABC company, right? To make my widgets. Well, now my cost per widget has gone up. So I either eat that money or I raise the price of the widgets, which is inflation. And that...
So which one do you think he's going to do, guys?
Right. And so of course I'm going to raise the price. I might even cut workers, which will hurt the job market, right? So I'm going to do that to improve my position financially, which means you, the consumer, are actually covering the cost of me paying that tax, that sales tax. So when they say it's a sales tax, it is on me, the business. But then I'm going to make you reimburse me for it, the consumer, when you go to the store and buy my widget. Because I had to pay that. Or I'm going to get the steel from somebody else cheaper, and in which case I'm not paying the tariff, so the government's collecting no tax. So it doesn't solve anything. It's just stupid. Plus it'll get worse, because what if we're taxing Lacey's country in Europe, and Lacey's country goes, well, that's not fair. We don't like that you're tariffing us. So trade war, we're going to tariff all your shit. Now, I can't sell to Lacey in Europe my widgets. Because she doesn't want them because the tariffs are too high. Because she'd have to pay those tariffs in her country. So now I've lost business. So I have to lay more people off. I mean, it's all stupid when you get down to it. It hasn't stopped. But he somehow thinks this is magically going to fix everything. We're going to tank the oil market completely. So they're making no money. Because there's more supply than demand. And we're going to raise tariffs, which is going to alter demand and either increase inflation or bring in no interest, and it's all just going to be domestic shopping. Which means you're not going to be able to get a lot of the products you want anyway. Because it's not going to be cost effective to me to get them for you. So the whole thing is just retarded. I mean, I just to sum that up so you guys get a sense of kind of what his strategy is. But it's just really stupid. Do you have something to add? Or?
Nope. I think that pretty much says it.